It said before you drop the needle, Gilling and chilling requires a little explanation. Start a pot of soup, which I have a soup recipe in here, and laze around or take a nap on a sunlit patch of carpet. Greetings and salutations, you to love with degenerates, and welcome back to the Fuzzy Wallflower. I'm your host, Corey. Well, if you saw my record haul video where I just basically sat around drinking scotch and showing off the records I bought, well, then you already know this was one of them. And I was ready to dive into the booze and vinyl books. They got two of them out so far. I got the other one right here. They actually do have a Christmas one I haven't got yet. Well, we'll worry about Christmas when Christmas time's here. But I figured this is a perfect time to dive into it. Not only give me a reason to go buy some more vinyl, but I got a hold of some of Bob Dylan's whiskey. And one of the cocktails in there is called a Newark Sour. I was like, okay, that's perfect. I can try his whiskey. We can try the cocktail, their version of a Newark Sour. And then we can just talk records a little bit if you want to stick around for that. Before we dive into this cocktail, like I said, I found the Heaven's Door bourbon. It is bottle number 123 of barrel 133. It's 123.4 proof. Ooh, that's gonna be a strong one. But that's okay. We'll enjoy it. Before we make a cocktail, let's just see what it tastes like straight. See, I still need to go to some of those whiskey tasting classes where you kind of like learn how to pick out stuff. Like I'm still trying. I feel like I'm getting better the more I do it, but you still like people smell all kinds of crazy stuff, and I'm like, dude, it smells like alcohol. Let's see. That smells like bourbon. Like I don't pick up any notes except for the alcohol. I don't know. Maybe I don't have a sensitive nose, but if it's good, it's good. Yeah, that's all. Yeah, Jumbo Joe's a little high proof. Ooh wee. Yeah. Yeah, this will make a good whiskey sour. Probably make a good old fashioned. But I'm gonna take burning going down a little bit. Yeah, that's all good. All right, as always, I am not a bartender. Don't even play one on TV. I don't play one. Well, I guess I play one on YouTube. But don't take any of this as a bartending advice. So let's make a cocktail. All right, it is a shake and drink. As you bought lemons. So it's 1 ounce of lemon juice. So let's see if I can do this without hurting myself.
A few moments later.
Oh, that was a workout. 1 ounce of lemon juice. 2 ounces of bourbon. Half an ounce of simple syrup. Now, the whiskey sour, most people use a egg white. They don't have that in their recipe. So I was kind of debating if I want to use that or not. I think what I'm going to do, just because I do like it, I'm going to use this Fee Foam. I'm supposed to use a couple drops. Kind of do the same thing. I don't have high hopes for it, but we'll see. And it's shaking time. Now it says to float. If I can get this open. To float some red wine. I hadn't had good luck trying to float stuff. So it was interesting. I went down the rabbit hole watching other people's videos. Like, how do they do the float? And there's so many different ways. Some people do the bar spoon this way, bar spoon this way. One guy had this contraption that you pour stuff in. Some people just dumped it in there. There's just not a consensus. One thing I saw, I think it was the Anders Ericsson videos. He was saying use the this, and I didn't realize this. So there's a little spout thing on there. I guess so it gets air help. It says helps control this. So I'm gonna try that. So it's about half an ounce of float. So let's just see. And that, my friends, is a New York Sour. It looks about like most everybody else's. I think some people had like a nice little float, and some people just dumped it all in there. I don't know. So let's try it and see. That's interesting. I like a whiskey sour. I'm not so sure about using the red wine in there. But yeah, it's got an interesting flavor. Does that evoke Bob Dylan to me? No, not really. For some reason, I feel Bob Dylan is probably just a straight whiskey in a dirty bar. If you like the cocktail, give it a shot. If you want to stick around, I'm going to jibber jabber a little bit about this record and some of my thoughts on it after listening to it and some other Bob Dylan related stuff, but nothing too crazy. This gives me a chance to kind of like, besides just being a cocktail channel, talk about some things I enjoy doing. So maybe you might enjoy it too. So I don't have a whole lot of Bob Dylan. I got a few pieces in my collection. Not a huge Dylan fan. I kind of came through Bob Dylan through Hendrix along the Watchtower growing up. I think that happened with a lot of people. You find somebody through their cover songs, so to speak. So I don't know his full history, but I know enough. He's pretty well known at this point. I had never heard Blood on the Tracks, except for Tangled Up in Blue. Growing up here in the Bible Belt, they didn't have MTV on the regular cable channels in our county. We eventually got VH1, and they always played the live version of Tangled Up in Blue. It's the only Bob Dylan song they played. Maybe it's the only one they had license for. So I've heard it many times, and then I don't think I ever heard the record version until this, and it's sounded a little different. Not bad either way, it was just different. The rest of them, it's fine. It's acoustic stuff. So when they mention, hey, it's just a chill record, just sit back, eat some soup, yeah, it's just pretty chill. I will say Shelter from the Storm and Buckets of Rain, the last two songs in there, I dig those. They have a nice vibe. But so if you think about this album, it's like his 15th studio album. It was the first album he came back to Columbia. He was writing it in a tumultuous time with his wife at the time, Sarah, I think her name. There's rumors that this was all written. These were like love songs written for her. He denies it, but his son says they were. So who knows? One thing about Bob Dylan is he always denied what he was. It always seemed like he was denying what anybody thought he was doing. Like if something mean this, and he would always deny it. So you just never know. Because realistically, Bob Dylan is a guy he created. What's his name? Zimmerman, last name? So nobody knows the whole background history. If you saw the new movie, which was kind of his intro to New York all the way up into the electric stuff, it's supposed to be that's the history that everybody knows. I tell you, if you haven't seen this, it's called I'm Not There. Well, it's got Batman and the Joker in it. Heath Ledger and Christian Bale in it. So, Batman and the Joker. I think it was before they did that, or somewhere in the middle of, obviously before Heath Ledger was gone. But this is kind of like the mythology of Bob Dylan. Like, different people play different versions of him. Like, Christian Bale plays two different versions. He plays like early New York Dylan and then became like Dylan in the, when he became like in the Christian religious stuff. Richard Gere plays this mythological Western version of him. Like Cate Blanchett plays the wild late 60s version who hangs out with Allen Ginsberg and the Beatles and doing LSD. And every version of somebody is just, it's a very cool artistic interpretation of the mythology of who Bob Dylan is. I would recommend seeing it. Although the new movie is great too. Timothée Chalamet did great. Back to this. I don't know why they picked this one, except for it's just mellow. Maybe that's the whole point. I would have thought they would have picked like this, which I just picked up a copy of it. I just didn't realize I had it because gotta buy vinyl, right? But this is when he got into the electric stuff, and he just pissed everybody off. And of course, I got the essentials. If you just want to buy Dylan, just buy this because it's got everything. But this is also, I don't know why they didn't do this one either, because this is probably his most poignant album. You know, like a Rolling Stone and then Highway 61, that sort of thing. I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting some of the albums they chose in there, because they wouldn't be the ones I would have chosen for the bands. But maybe that's my version. And I got a couple, you know, Muzak version of Bob Dylan. And this was interesting. Dylan was put out by the record label kind of against his wishes, my understanding. You know, it was a bunch of outtakes and stuff like that. It's kind of like a throwaway album. They just money grab off the Dylan name. It was kind of interesting going down a rabbit hole of music through the cocktail world a little bit. But yeah, this newer sour, yeah, it's interesting. I think I just read that a whiskey sour, then throw the red wine on there. It adds a little more, I don't know, tanginess to it, so to speak. It's already sour enough with the lemon. Maybe if I had a better quality wine, maybe, I don't know. Hey, who knows? You know, with all that being said, hey, you know, if you're a Dylan fan, tell me your favorite Dylan song. Or if you think he's a no talent hack, tell me that too. There's a lot of criticism on him as a writer versus him as a musician, and so it's you know, they're all taken with a grain of salt. In the meantime, you guys know what to do. Cheers.